Gentlelady from Ohio.
Mr. Speaker, this time I'm pleased to yield 3 minutes to my distinguished colleague from Texas, Mr. Paul.
Gentleman is recognized for 3 minutes.
I ask unanimous consent to revise and extend my remarks.
Without objection, so ordered. Gentleman may proceed.
I thank the gentlelady for yielding. I rise to express my support for this rule. It's a fair rule. There's plenty of room for debate and room for amendment. I would like to congratulate the Appropriations Committee for doing something very important in this bill by deleting all the funding for selective service system. I think that's very important. And as was described by the gentlelady earlier, there will be an attempt early on. The first amendment will come to the floor, will be to put that money back in. And I would like my colleagues to consider very seriously not to do that, because there is no need for the selective service system. There is only one purpose for the selective service system, and that is to draft young 18-year-olds. That is unfair. There is no such thing as a fair draft system. It's always unfair to those who are less sophisticated, who either avoid the draft or are able to get into the National Guard, or as it was in the Civil War, pay to get their way out. The draft is a 20th century phenomenon, and I am delighted to see and very pleased that the Appropriations Committee saw fit to delete this money, because this, to me, is reestablishing one of the American traditions that we do not believe in conscription. Conscription and drafting is a totalitarian idea. And I would like to remind many of my conservative colleagues that if we brought a bill to this floor where we would say that we would register all our guns in the United States, there would be a hue and cry about how horrible it would be. And yet we casually accept this program of registering 18-year-old kids to force them to go and fight the political wars that they're not interested in. This is a very, very serious idea and principle of liberty. So when the time comes in September to vote for this, I beg that my fellow colleagues will think seriously about this. The needlessness to spend $25 million to continue to register young people to go off to fight needless wars. They're not even permitted to drink beer, and yet we expect them to be registered and yet to use them to fight the wars that the older generation starts for political and narrow-minded reasons. So when the time comes in September, please consider that there are ways that you can provide for an army without conscription. We've had the reinstitution of registration and draft for 20 years. It's been wasted money. We can save the $25 million. We should do it. We should not put this money back in. We do not need the selective service system. I yield back.
The gentleman's time has expired.